Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Pat Ziemer here with a Tuesday edition of the MagnaWave Office Hours. Glad to be with you today to answer whatever questions you may have with regard to training, machines, anything it may be about PEMF protocols, whatever it is. We're here to try to answer your questions as best we can. You can put your questions in the chat box on YouTube or Facebook, or you can give me a call. They'll put the number on the screen at 502. Where's that number here? 502, wait a minute, 502-414-3436. You'd think I'd memorize that number. 502-414-3436. You know, Albert Einstein used to talk about things. He said, why do I need to remember phone numbers when I have a phone book? And so why do I need to remember that number when it's right there on my screen? But anyway, we're glad to be with you. If you want to talk to me, send me a text, 502-414-3436. I'll give you a call back and we can talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about with regard to MagnaWave PEMF therapy or whatever. So that's what's going on there. A couple of things to kind of clear up and talk about here before we get going this morning. MagnaCon's coming up, as you know, in June. We're looking forward to a very exciting MagnaCon downtown Louisville, at the Galt House Hotel on the Belvedere overlooking the river. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be a lot of fun. As you know, this will be the last one for a year. We'll skip 2023 as we're going to be doing regional shows. That's where the show is going to be, right there overlooking the river in downtown Louisville. If you can't join us, but you want to see the speakers and you want to participate in the program and what's going on, virtual tickets are now available. You can buy them online, and they work for your reclassification or your continuing education. So if you can't be here and you want to follow along and work on your recertification, the virtual tickets are available. They're $150, and you'll have the app available to you so you can ask questions, do a lot of different things. It's a pretty neat deal the way we do that. So at any rate, MagnaCon's coming up. Check out the website for your tickets. Let's see who's with us here today. Leilani's with us. Jessica's with us. Tracy Walker's with us today. Melissa is with us. Hello. Hey, Melissa. Rebecca is with us from Indiana. And Pro Force PEMF is from Virginia with us today, and Riggs is with us, Johnson's with us, Joyce, Terry, just a lot of folks. Maureen's with us this morning, Rebecca's with us, so from New York. So thanks for being with us. And again, if you have a question, just put it in the chat box. I'll go there and have a look at it, answer your question, and we'll move right along. Or if you want to talk to me again, the phone number is 502-414-3436, and I'll give you a call back. Just send me a text and we'll get that handled. All right, there are some questions that have come up through the week, and I just want to hit one here that was posted talking about on the Soul Pro, talking about not to use around metal. And is that okay? And for years we've talked about that, where you have a screw or a rod or something like that that's been put into the body of the animal or whatever, and can we treat around that? Typically what we recommend, it's not going to loosen anything, it's not going to pull anything out, doesn't create a pulling magnetic force or anything like that, but it is there, and we want to make sure that there's no discomfort if someone has had this done, or if the animal has had it, you want to make sure there's no discomfort to the animal. So we always recommend that you take the coil, put it near the area for a couple of minutes on a very moderate setting, and see if the horse is comfortable or the animal is comfortable, or if they move around at that point. So that's the situation. We have to publish this information because we want to be safe. We don't want someone to use this on their horse and there's a lot of ankle or a lot of screws or rods or something in the leg or whatever your client has. We want to make sure that you approach it in the proper fashion. So in those type situations, it's kind of like the literature reads, operate 15 feet from a computer. That's because we don't want anybody to hurt your computer or your watch or your phone or whatever it may be. And I've always had my phone in my back pocket whenever I'm out treating or when I'm doing anything like that. Never really had an issue. Certainly you put the coil right on top of a phone and you turn the machine all the way up, you can do some damage to the phone. The machine does not like chips with keys with chips. And so you always want to keep that kind of thing in mind. So we'll cover all of that in the manuals to make sure that everything is there. But then you need to understand and know what your limitations are and how you can use things. We traveled around in our RV for almost 8 years full time in the tube with 2 computers and a machine within 5 feet of us at any point in time operating, and had no issues with our computers. It's not to say you don't want to be careful and operate the way that you're comfortable. So that's the situation there with metal rods and implants. Virtual tickets, we've already talked about that. Has anyone worked with a calf that has contracted tendons? Well, and so the situation there is what is this a situation that they're contracted to the point that they're not going to change? Can you change that? Probably not. But if they're contracted just because they're tight and they need to be loosened up and they need to become more flexible, the treatments, the massaging effect of the treatments can show some beneficial benefits to those types of situations. Is it going to change something that's anatomically done or anatomically driven? No. Can you create comfort when you have an anatomically driven situation? Yes. I mean, if you've got experienced this when you've got some on an animal where you've got a bunch of buildup of scar tissue and the animal's uncomfortable and it loses range of motion, you can soften that scar tissue, provide improved range of motion, relieve pain, provide better comfort. In some cases, they can continue to do what you expect them to do as far as performing or agility or whatever it is that you're looking for. So you can aid anatomically driven situations, but you're not going to necessarily change an anatomically driven situation in the body. But so I hope that helps with that type of question. Heather asked a question. I've been asked by a potential client about PEMF for her daughter. And of course, certainly you want to talk to doctors and you have everything cleared if you're treating yourself with your equipment with degenerative disc disease. They've read that there can be some benefit. Well, a lot of times when you have diseases in your animals in the back with the discs and the inflammation occurs, it's like many different situations. And you want to help get rid of the inflammation. The device will help do that. Basically, we're inflammation reduction devices. And so you want to help that along, relieve the inflammation, improve the body's ability to better heal itself, and then provide some comfort to the client, to the animal, as your person, whatever, as you're dealing accordingly. But you certainly, in most cases, you always want to check with the veterinarian or with the docs that you're dealing with to make sure that they're up on what you're doing and you understand their reasons for why they're talking about what they want to see happen. Okay. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat box. I'll come over there and answer them for you. Brooke asked a question, has anyone experienced the day after a session that a horse is agitated to be brushed and reluctant to trot under saddle? Well, and they're thinking this horse has had previous severe soreness in the back. Vet x-rays showed borderline kissing spine disease, very reactive along the SI joint. This person's thinking it could have something to do with detox. Okay, let's just go back to the beginning. Every animal is different. And I've had people treat their horses, they get on them the next day, they're fresh, and they're saying, well, they're fresh, they don't want this, they don't want to be bothered. Well, they feel good and in many cases, and so they do act a little fresh. Now, in a situation where you have an animal that doesn't want to be brushed or becomes agitated, it's possible, and we've talked about this, if you're treating an animal and there's something going on, if they have something underlying and it's going to come to the surface, you can bring it to the surface more rapidly. And there's many different schools of thought on that. As you know, an animal, a horse is fine today. You're riding it and everything's wonderful. And tomorrow you go to the stall and it won't get up. It's lame, just not sound, won't do anything. And yesterday it was fine. It's been building. Now, is it possible for you to treat that animal and tomorrow something's going to show up? That's probably going to show up anyway. So that can happen. You can have that type of situations. And with regard to other things, if the animal's in so much pain that it feels comfort from you rubbing it and doing that to rub the horse, brush the horse, whatever it may be, that's one thing, because your pain, you have one pain in your mind at a time, and so the animal's not concerned about what you're doing until all of a sudden you relieve that pain, and now something else. Oh, I also have this. Had that all the time with racing jockeys when I would be treating racehorses at the tracks, and the jocks would say, can you throw that on my back? My low back's bothering me. And I put it on their back. Boy, that sure feels better. And the next day they'd come back and say, what'd you do? My shoulders are killing me today. Their shoulders were bothering them anyway. It's just that the low back was bothering them more. And then all of a sudden we exposed the shoulders. So that's when we come in and we kind of have the mentality, treat the whole body. If you're going to treat the low back, treat the shoulders and the hips. So you're working on the whole system so you get everything feeling better. And that's always been the premise with the horses and the animals. Do the overall horse. If you know it's got a sore knee or a hock or whatever, the foot, whatever it may be, concentrate on that a little bit, but do the whole animal. Why? Because you're improving the blood oxygen, you're improving the comfort of the whole animal. And where's that going to go? To the area that's maybe a little more sensitive. So it kind of work in that type of fashion, and that's the way we've always kind of done. Could it be detox? Yes, but you're not going to detox a horse in one treatment. As we know, the PEMF serves to improve detoxing, the system of detoxification, but to horses in the field, horses in the stall, horses in the hay, horses in a lot of stuff. So they got a lot of toxins going on all the time that they're ingesting and exposing themselves to. You're not going to detox a horse to where it's agitated tomorrow because it doesn't feel good. And that is not the case. However, the more I talk about this, things kind of come into play. If you're dealing with an EPM type of situation, it is certainly possible to treat a horse that's having some EPM or could have EPM, and you got a parasite situation and you don't want to aggravate it, so they got a sore back and they don't know what they're doing, so they're treating the animal, and tomorrow the animal is sore, is more sore than it was today. That's because you have aggravated some of the parasites where they're causing some issues. So in those types of situations, one is not going to do it. You got to keep after it, multiple treatments. We've had plenty of situations over the years with performance horses that had EPM. They've gone through all the regimens, they've gone through everything, but there's just a lingering situation with the comfort of the animal, and you have to treat them every week to keep them performing the way you want to. And if you stop, then they kind of start regressing. And so that's the situation that you sometimes need to deal with in those types of situations. Okay, let's see here. Let's go check and see if we've got any questions. Leilani, aloha from South Carolina. Virtual tickets. Let's see here. I had a polo horse. Oh, Leilani asked the question. I had a polo horse with proud flesh, and I was hesitant to work on it. Your opinion? Okay, if you have an injury, if there's a horse that has an injury and it's the kind of injury that's open, it's a little larger, and there is the real possibility of a buildup of proud flesh, if you used it on the wound at the time, you will greatly diminish the potentiality for a lot of proud flesh. I'm not going to say you're going to eliminate it totally, but you are going to reduce that capability. Now, if it's there, and are you going to make it go away? No. If it's uncomfortable and solid and causing some constriction, you can make it softer just by massaging it, if you will, with the PEMF and with everything going on. So that could be something. You're not going to exacerbate the problem if it's already there. If it's not occurred yet and you want to keep it from occurring, then you treat the area, and you can greatly, just like if you use PEMF post-surgery or after an injury, you're going to keep scarring, greatly reduced opportunity for scarring. So it's the same. Proud flesh is basically a scarring type of event that takes place after some types of wounds. So there you have it. So I would not be afraid to do that, Leilani. I would treat the animal and go forward. We once had a racehorse in Florida that had a proud flesh situation on its ankle, and it was becoming solid with the scar tissue and everything that was going on. It was limiting the horse's ability to properly flex its ankle. And as you know, if you see how race horses perform, if you ever get had a farrier that I worked with in Wisconsin, and he would do videos showing the horse as it comes down the track, and they would hit the dirt, and then, as they say, rotate. So they would hit the dirt and slide and rotate, and then they would continue their movement and their stride going forward. Something changed that when they started going to the artificial turf and different types of surfaces, is that they'd hit the turf and they wouldn't rotate. They would slide and stick, and because on dirt, you get that sliding effect of and when to see that in slow motion, it's amazing. And if you haven't, look it up and have a look at it and see the rotation of a hoof as it hits the surface as it's performing. And that's what happened. And that same thing when you talk about in the performance world, where they're using artificial turf and different types of substances on the ground, it's changed how the horses hit the surface, how they react to the surface. In the race horses, for example, it took it off the shoulder sometimes and moved it to the feet because they were stopping. They weren't sliding the way they were supposed to, and different things. So it just changed the location of the potential injury or potential stress on the animal as it would perform or race or whatever. So those are the kind of things and that type of situation that you deal with. I don't know how I got off on that. Leilani asked a question about proud flesh. So I think you're good. Oh, Leilani has another question. Also with polo horses, there are 4 per player, so 16 horses. Treating prior to such a high intensity game, I was asked if it will inhibit performance because the horse gets very relaxed. Then they are running up to 30 miles per hour full speed. Your take? Great question. You need to understand, and I've said this a lot, but every horse is different. Some horses, and they practice polo, so they need to have you at a practice match, and you treat the horses that are going to be coming in and make sure that they're fluid and they're ready to go. But as I learned on the race course, I had a trainer come to me and say, I want you to treat the horse today because he's going to run this afternoon at 2:00. That's back when they didn't really monitor if we treated the day before or race day. And so I treated that morning, and the horse went to the track with no edge. The horse didn't care if the gate opened, gate closed, what he wanted to go to his concession stand and take a break. And so we learned on that animal had to be treated the day before. Same thing for polo horses. So you need to learn your horses. There's ways to do that, and there's times to do that. And it doesn't take a long period of time. If you're dealing with the polo horses and each one's got 4 horses, that's a bunch of horses. But, today at practice, we're going to work with this player's horses, and we're going to treat this horse this way, and we're going to see how they perform. If you have one that kind of loses its edge, it's a little more relaxed than you want it to be, don't treat that horse then. Treat that horse after it comes out so it can recover. Different situation entirely when you're dealing with their recovery as opposed to their attitude going in. So if some horses can be treated prior and they perform the way you want to, no problem. I've had plenty of horses in the performance world that they're on their saddle, they're ready to go to the ring, and we're treating the feet because the compression they get on the feet, we're treating their feet, folks. So when they come over the jump, they feel better. They get better range of motion. Other horses, nope. Treat them the day before. Treat them 6-8 hours. Treat out. Do those types of situations. Every horse is different. You need to learn that, and you need to express that to the owners so they understand that you have authority in what you're doing and you know what can happen. They much rather have you tell them going in than them to tell you coming out that the horse didn't perform. What we did on the racetrack was they breeze the horses before the main race, a few days before, just to make sure that the horse is ready. The horse can run at speed. The horse can run at speed with another horse at its side, that whole type of thing. Well, so on this breeze day, we're going to treat this horse. So we treat it just before the breeze. And we'd see, oh, he did okay, but he just didn't have the engine that he has normally. So next time we'd treat him the night before. And we'd see, oh my God, that horse was ready, relaxed, ready to go. So some horses are as close as possible to race time. Other horses are even a day out, 2 days out, because it'll last up to that type of time. Once they're relaxed, once everything's in place, that's how the horses will perform and move forward. So just keep that in mind. Every horse is different. Every animal is different. If you're treating show pigs or you're treating cattle or bucking bulls, whatever the situation may be, learn where you are, what you're doing, become professional, make your notes so you know, and you can explain this to the owners and to the trainers. Believe me, it'll work, and everything will be great. Okay, let's see. Polo horses. Let's see, going down from Katie's here from Minnesota. Dawn's here. Stephanie's with us, Connecticut. Anything to share with us on the hospice study? It was I do want to share those specifics, and that study is completed. We're analyzing the notes and we're putting everything together. I can tell you one thing that we learned is it's kind of like the horse deal. If you're treating, how do I say this? You got to know what you're treating and what you're to expect when you treat. If you treat a 10-year-old child who has no issues, no pain, you're not going to see any movement on the body. If you're treating a 20-year-old athlete, same way, you're going to see some movement where they have some stress and things going on. One of the things we did in that study, and it wasn't a hospice study, but is the correct terminology, which I'll give to you. One of the things that we did that we did not think of is we were treating athletes in their prime conditioning. Well, if they're not in a state of need of recovery and everything is good, they're going to just be good. I mean, I've had animals, horses that I've treated that were ready, and they were good. They just wanted to feel good while I was treating them. That's great. And away they went. So you really had a very tough area to decide what happened and what didn't happen. If we would, in this particular study, and once it was completed, we learned where we made a flaw in the planning. You need to understand that we're treating athletes, which all these people were. If you're treating athletes, you want to treat them all after a situation that they can tell you what normally happens with their recovery. Then you can gauge what their recovery was. And so we were just a little bit backwards on what we had. Were the results positive? Absolutely. And that's good. But we did not properly monitor or properly plan for what could happen. And that's the thing about studies. When you talk about in which we've talked about as far as what's the best way to do things, you want to be able to replicate. In order for a study to be bona fide and worthy of peer review, is that it can be replicated. So you can take these situations and replicate them each time. And that's the real proof in the pudding when it comes to studies. And so one of the things that we've learned as we're working with our equipment, because there's been a lot of studies done over the years on specific areas, but when you start coming back and you want to talk about your machine in these examples, you need to fine tune where the machine's used, how it's used, what you're trying to accomplish with that, and what you're going to see. Anyway, that's a pretty good rundown of where we are on that particular study. It was a very learning experience for us. We saw positive results, but we did not qualify enough as to how we were going to use it so we could really measure the results appropriately, or appropriately. Let's put it that way. Okay. Let's see. Thanks for the info. Hello from Blossom, Texas. I will never treat first time at a hunter or dressage show. Maureen talks about that. Correct. If it's a new customer and they're going to perform, tell them, no, let's do it tonight after they perform. Let's do it tomorrow before you practice. You work them to see how their range of motion is, to see how their energy is, and that. And thank you for sharing that, Maureen, because we all learn that. We have to learn it, and that's the way it is. Has anyone treated a horse with guttural pouch infection? That has done cultures, and we are waiting to see if it is fungal or bacterial, but wanted to know if you think it is okay to treat. It's my personal horse who has 0 symptoms with the exception of yellowish discharge out of one nostril. Well, certainly you want to follow what the vet's recommendation is. If it's bacterial and you're going to improve the oxygenation in the bloodstream that can fight the bacteria, it's not a bad thing. Talk with the vet. If it's a fungus, I know we've used devices where there's some skin issues, and we've used it to deal with the skin. It helps the blood flow to the area and helps the horse basically recover in those types of situations. And if it's an infection, a lot of times, and again, I'm going back 20 years, but when everybody was kind of wandering around, what is this stuff and how does it work? And we'd have an infection. They'd say, don't treat, because we want the antibiotics to do their job. We want the temperature to be checked, and then you can go treat. Not a bad deal at all. Not a bad precaution to take. But so in those type situations, there may be someone that says, let's give the antibiotics that they're going to give, the antibiotics. Let's let it do its job. Then let's come back and improve the overall oxygenation of the body. If you're treating the back and the top line and the whole horse, where's it going? It's going to the gut. That blood's going to go there, and it's going to last for a day or two in its improved state of oxygenation. So you're doing some good. Is that going to be harming anything that's going on? No. And so that's the way to approach that situation. Check with your vet, and accordingly, there are nebulizers that can help deal with that too. There's a Centurion transpirator that vaporizes the water and turns it into a gas that can very easily penetrate the gut and the lungs and all these areas too. Now the gut's different. It's not going to penetrate the gut, but it's going to clear up the lungs so they can better do their job to get the blood moving and the oxygenation good. That's going to go there and work on that type of infection. Great question. Hi, Bob and Don. Can't wait. Oh, see, yeah, going to come to MagnaCon. I have a horse that has a puncture wound in his abdomen. It is not actively bleeding. Any recommendations when to start and how long? Also, where to place the loops. Owner would like to decrease scarring and improve healing. I've kind of covered most of that stuff. If it's not bleeding and you don't want to have scarring, you could certainly put the large loop in that area on a moderate setting and begin to treat. You're going to improve the blood flow to the area, which is good for the healing process. You're going to improve the oxygenation to the area. Maybe if you've got an LZR, when you're finished, treat with the LZR, the red light a little bit, because that helps the uniformity of the growth, that the healing that's going to take place, to be more mapped, if you will. That's one of the beauties of the light therapy and healing wounds. The MagnaWave can produce the oxygen, can produce the blood flow to the area, but that's what it's doing. So you want to maybe complement that with some light to help the situation be smoother. And those two in combination can also help with the scarring and what would occur. We work with a lot with people who do plastic type surgery, and various doctors have our device on trial in their offices who are plastic surgeons, and they utilize it to help keep the inflammation down, to help reduce the scarring. We're doing some preliminary work for some pre-studies, if you will, in that area. And so that's one of the things that's been very beneficial with the PEMF over the years. Okay, let's see. Vet doesn't want to do antibiotics yet. Well, if it's not to the point that they're concerned about antibiotics, then potentially improve the blood flow and the blood oxygenation to the area to let the body naturally do something. There you go. That's a thought. Okay, let's see if we've had any calls. Let me come over here. 11:57. Oh, no, that was my trial. We were having phone problems last week, and we were having them again this morning, but Tony and Emily and the staff at the office got it all worked out. So as I'm remote from the office at this point, we got it worked out very well. So thanks to Emily and Tony for helping me get that squared away with my Google Voice. Come back over here. Let's see. No other questions there. Let me pop over here. We had a couple other questions that we picked up going along. Has anyone worked with a horse with aspiration pneumonia? I don't know, but I can talk about we've worked with animals with pneumonia and the buildup of fluids in the lungs. And so we've worked to help the lungs be massaged and help potentially move the buildup of fluids away, help the oxygenation take place in a more uniform fashion to help their breathing and help the healing process along. Again, increased oxygenation and improved blood flow, not increased, but improved blood flow is very beneficial to those types of situations. Always talk to your veterinarian, explain to them what you're going to do. If they have questions, they can certainly contact Teresa and Carson at the office in the training area. We can talk to our doctors that we have on staff to give referrals to the docs if they want to know more about what can happen. But certainly just to treat the lungs in a fashion so they have the oxygen that they need and have the flow of blood and so forth that they need is something that could be very beneficial to that type of situation. Canine heart disease. Has anyone had any experience treating? Can't find any previous references. We're not going to. You put this on an animal with heart disease that's got, whether it's vein size or artery size or valve operation or anything like that. We're not going to change that necessarily. We help them feel better? If there's inflammation involved with that, could this be a benefit to treat, to help aid the loss of the inflammation or the depletion of the inflammation that could be in that type situation? Sure. And so that's something that you certainly want to talk to your vet. What does the vet see could be necessary to help aid the healing or aid the health in that type of situation? Then we can discuss, we can maybe shore this up, or maybe we can add this type of dynamic to what they're talking about. But again, if it's an anatomical driven situation, most you can do is comfort, and it could be long-term comfort. If it's something that's just going to be there. So I really can't get very deep into that type of question, but again, a lot of things can add to that, and the veterinarian can help you there. And if you have an issue that you're dealing with and you'd like for us, again, to have your veterinarian maybe consult with our veterinarian or our doctor on our medical director, certainly a viability that is available to you. And to that end, there's a lot of different things going on here, and we talk about it a lot. And I'm kind of patting us on the back here a little bit. We do have an on-staff medical director that we can go to and get help with these types of questions. We do have veterinarians around the country who answer our calls and will answer our questions from the practitioners and from the other veterinarians to get some background, because they've been doing it for 15 years, where maybe your veterinarian is just becoming exposed to this type of therapy and what it can do and go forward. So we're certainly doing everything we can do to allow you as the customer or you as the practitioner to get the results that you're looking for within the scope of reliability and within the scope of reality with our devices. And so we're happy with that and proud to be able to do that. And that's something that we're excited about doing. Okay, let's see. That's the questions that I have there. I will stay if you have questions. We did the puncture wound. Any recommendations for a horse with heaves? Any success stories? Overall well-being is important. Overall treatment of the animal. Talk to the veterinarian about how they feel, what could be beneficial. But in those situations, we've seen some comfort provided. We've seen some change in situation. Again, you're not going to cause anything to be any worse. So to approach that type situation to see how the animal does would be certainly, we'd like to know more. And certainly go on to the MagnaWave International Education and Research Facebook group. where you can ask a question about that, and specifically, and that you can search for that, and you'll see any comments that have been made about heaves over the years. And that page has been up now for 3 or 4 years that I'm sure of. And you can also, we've got practitioners that have treated thousands more horses than I did, and or do, and have dealt with that type of situation. So don't be afraid to go into, if you're a certified practitioner, go into the certified group and ask the question, or into the group, MagnaWave International PEMF Research and Education, and ask the question there, and you'll get some good input as to how you can benefit from PEMF in that type of situation. Okay. If there's no other questions, I'm not going anywhere yet, but we've been here for a while, and want to stay and answer your questions and have a conversation that you wish. If the questions are finished, then we'll talk a little bit about MagnaWave. Good morning, Alicia from St. Louis. Let's see here if there's been any phone action. Nope, no other phone action. Nobody wants to talk to me today, which is all right. I'll just do some other stuff later on. Anyway, so don't forget, MagnaCon's coming up. Virtual tickets are available, $150. So if you can't be with us, pick up a virtual ticket, go to the MagnaWavePMF.com website, and you can get your virtual ticket and be able to do your continuing education and learn and be with us as best you can. If you want to join us, get your tickets online. They're available. The room block is available still at the Galt House. We've had to change that 2 or 3 times because we have more people signing up than we've ever had sign up. We've had great locations for MagnaCon, but this is over the top. We can accommodate virtually as many people as we want within reason, and to be able to treat the animals where we're going to, and treat the work with our human side of things going on. It's just going to be a lot of fun. So come join us in Louisville to Galt House this June. All the dates are on the website. I always get them wrong when I start talking about them. All I know is I'm going to be there with bells on, and I always enjoy it. I love it, and so forth. Jackie's excited to attend. Certainly, we look forward to seeing and meeting everyone. Maureen says she can't wait, and so that's exciting to go forward. Let's see, Terry. I have been invited to a wellness fair in April. What promotional material is recommendation? News and views. And where's my book? Oh, where's my book? You know, the MagnaWave video books. I got mine here somewhere. Get a MagnaWave video book and have it tailored for your discipline that you're working with, and have news and views, and you'll be covered. Now, you certainly want to have your business cards, and if you have some brochures or something like that, that's wonderful. But the news and views covers everything. It's easy for someone to take. It's good reading material. It's just like a newspaper. And then the video book, somebody can be there and you're talking to them. They can step over to the side and pay attention and look at the video book for a few minutes and get a total information about what's going on from a third party. Even though it's a video, the third party is always the expert. So that's what I would take. I'd make sure I have a video book, maybe a couple of them, so a couple of them could be handed out. Don't give them away. They're too expensive to give away, but it's like handing somebody your computer, except it's programmed for what you want them to see. And of course, they could be customized with your own videos or customized with your logos and stuff like that. Anyway, you're asking what to take. That's what I would take. News and views and a video book, my computer to set appointments, and my phone to set appointments or whatever. And you want to make sure you're up on the app. You want to show somebody the app, because if they're there, oh, look, we're going to do this, and I'm going to show you where the horse had this information or that type situation, then I'm going to send it to you, Create your authority. And that's something that you can do with the right pieces of equipment with you in that type of environment. Let's see. Okay, let's see, news and views. Okay, wellness fair. All right. Let's see. I have a client that is trying PEMF for lipedema in her legs. Any info I can use for her sessions, frequency, etc. Well, certainly you want to try to get better blood flow to aid the situation. And so You might want to use the mat with the leg laying on the mat. Or if you have the wave wings, you might want to put the wings where both legs can lay within the wings and treat and help get the good blood flow and good oxygenation to the area to help work on that type of situation. But that'd be something to do. You want to make sure that if your friend and your doctors talk to you about it, or they've talked to you, want to make sure you're doing all of that. So you're doing what's legally correct and so on and so forth. But that would be the situation. And of course, what we always say is you treat as often as necessary, or you continue to treat as long as function continues to improve. So if they feel better and you do it again tomorrow and they feel better and they do it the next day, or if you do it twice a week and they're still feeling better, as long as the function continues to improve, treat. And when you hit a plateau, treat as often as necessary to maintain the plateau if the situation does not subside or go away. So that would be my recommendation there. Dee Dee says, we're coming to MagnaCon. Can't wait to meet you in person. Oh, God love you. MagnaWave has changed my life so much. Got me back on my feet and doing pretty well since the spinal cord injury. I know, Dee Dee, and we're so excited for you and look forward to meeting you as well. Let's see, talent from out of town. There you go. That's exactly right. Talent from out of town. All right. If you have a question, simply throw it in the chat box there, and I'd be happy to answer it. Let me check my phone. Nope. Okay. Come back over here. Got another thing in the Don says, looking forward to seeing everyone who attended last year and meeting all the new practitioners. See you soon. You know, it is. Here it is. March the 1st. I got a big birthday in 17 days coming up. St. Patty's Day. Little green beer stuff happens on that day. So we're looking forward to that. We always have a lot of fun on St. Patrick's Day. It's my birthday. People ask me, what was your mother going to name you if you weren't born on St. Patrick's Day? Well, she probably would have named me Tuesday or the 16th. I don't know. I was number 5, and they were pretty well down the road on this situation, and which is an interesting story in itself that we can talk about at some point. But you know, that worked out perfect for my mother that I was born on St. Patrick's Day, and it worked out pretty well for me as well. So there you go. That's enough. Can you use the MagnaWave machine at the same time as the LZR? Depends on how strong you're running the MagnaWave machine. If you're using the Spiro, or you're using the Semi 10, or you're using the other devices on a lower setting while you're using the LZR, yes. If you're going to turn those machines up, you got a lot of electrical stuff going on there that it is potentially, it could have some interference between the two. I know it's better today. When we first started using the LZR, I wanted to do that because I was trying to look at the weight loss aspect or the inch reduction aspect, and I would try to do them at the same time, and I couldn't. Now you can, although if you want more intensity, you're going to have a situation that you could have some interference. But you're only talking a minute or two of the LZR. So do the LZR first for 2 minutes or a minute, however long, whatever the indication is, and then use your MagnaWave, and then come back and use your LZR again for a minute or so. And so there you're getting the optimum of what's going on. Sure, you can do them at both the same time, but it has to do with the intensity of the machine that you're using. Hope that helps. Oh, Dawn, yeah, happy birthday year. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Mary Beth, you're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If there's any other questions, throw them in there, and I'd be happy to have a look at them. Really some good questions today. Are there any, if there are any practitioners are available to do some pro bono work on a mounted patrol horse in Savannah for St. Patty's, they would greatly appreciate it. I just worked multiple horses for them this week at a mobile Mardi Gras mounted patrol barn. Oh, Chris, and that's a great idea. And you know, that's a great business builder. You know, you've got your mounted police in your city. If you have mounted police or mounted sheriff, whatever it may be, you have rescues. You have a lot of different situations. You may have a horse unit that performs and does things as a nonprofit that you could aid with on a pro bono basis. And she's talking about a specific situation. Where is it going to be? Oh, Savannah. love Savannah. God, Savannah is so much fun. And the house tours and all that kind of stuff. We like to go to Tybee Island, which is just right down the road from Savannah. But if you have an opportunity to do that, if you're looking to create better image and you're looking to create some authority in what you're doing, and you treat those animals and you help them out, and they're going to be so appreciative and they're going to say how well it works. It's a great thing. A lot of communities, just talking about a little business building stuff here, a lot of communities have times where some veterinarians get together and they'll go to a church or to a park or to a community center, and they'll do work pro bono for people who can't afford to maybe take care of their animals the way they would like to or can. And for you to participate in that type of thing is always appreciated, always helps, and a great way to get in with the veterinarians, great way to get in with the people that are sponsoring the event and doing things. So, you know, anytime you have a range of situation like that, if you're there doing pro bono work for somebody because somebody doesn't have the money, the people that are helping put that on are the people typically with the money, or have some money, or have the availability. I'm not, not trying to say money, but have the wherewithal to take care of their animals the way you would like or they would like. And so you're just doing things to improve your situation. Okay. Kristen says, we've done 30 plus horses over the past week in Mobile that are working Mardi Gras. They have had incredible results. There you go. When you have that, Kristen, get some video. Get some interviews with those folks that you can use on your video book, or whatever. There's a lot of different ways to do that, or you can pass them along, and we can help people use them on their video books to help improve everybody's capability of being successful in the MagnaWave, in their MagnaWave endeavors. Great ideas, great questions. Gosh, that's exciting. Okay, if there's anything else, put it in there. We'll be here for another second or so. Let me check my phone one more time. I just love to talk on the telephone. I just think it's so. My wife says, "Do you ever put that damn thing down?" No, not very often. In fact, last night I was having trouble sleeping. I don't know. I was just having trouble sleeping. And what I do when I can't sleep is I read. So I'll get up and I'll turn on my phone and read the news and read some articles that I want to read and do that stuff. And I'm as dyslexic as I am, I have trouble reading. It's not that I can't read. I have to go through this adjustment process. And so if I want to sleep, I read, because it doesn't take long and I'm tired. And so that's what I do. Well, last night I did it twice, and she finally said to me, turn that thing off and put it down. And I did, and I went to sleep. So it's all right. But a little tidbit, there you go. Just normal as I can be. Glad to be here. Glad you're here. Thank you so much. All right. We've had a great day today. The participation has been wonderful. The questions are good. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, virtual tickets are available for MagnaCon coming up. I got my desk here, and when I get on my desk, it looks like I'm in a aquarium. So I'm swimming around in my aquarium right now. You see, if I could make bubbles go up, never mind. I could just get. Anyway, thanks for being with me. Wave on to better health. Go all the way with MagnaWave. Have a great day, great week. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.